Is it possible that Donald Trump is allegedly responsible for the current invasion of Russia into Ukraine and fallout between Russia and NATO? Russia cuts gas to Poland, threatens disconnecting Bulgaria. Stay tuned for more insights. It was at this choke point where D.C. Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanoni was dragged away by the baying mob and surrounded by rioters chanting "Kill him" with his own gun. Disturbing video in the documentary 4 Hours at the Capitol shows Officer Fanoni screaming out in pain as he is tasered in the head, while his body cam footage shows the rioters pulling him deeper into the crowds. He was one of 4 police officers who gave emotional evidence at the July inquiry into the Capitol insurrection, where he revealed he lost consciousness that day, and later found out he suffered a heart attack. At least 9 people who were there died during and after the rioting, including 4 officers who died by suicide. Roberts described the tunnel battles as like 300 the film, with Trump supporters and police. It includes the chilling footage of Ashley Babbitt, who was part of a group that forced entry into the chamber of the House of Representatives, being fatally shot by an officer and falling to the ground. Only a barricaded door with smashed windows and about half a dozen officers separated the crowds from the House representatives who were stooped on the ground fearing for their lives. In an interview, Democrat Rosa DeLauri's voice broke as she compared the situation to 9/11, where panicked people around her made the last phone call to loved ones and prayed for safety. In one memorable scene, Leah Hahn, a staff assistant to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, choked back tears as she recalled cowering under a desk in a dark room with rioters outside the door, fearing that she would be raped or killed. The meeting included Trump Jr., Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and then Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort. They were expecting dirt on Hillary Clinton from Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya. The meeting lasted roughly 20 minutes. To the best of your knowledge, did the president provide any edits to the statement or other input? He may have commented through Hope Hicks. And do you know if his comments provided through Hope Hicks were incorporated into the final statement? I believe some may have been, but this was an effort through lots of people, mostly counsel. The explanations about the reason for the meeting from Trump Jr., the White House and the president's legal team have changed, and been contradictory over time. In a statement to the New York Times last summer, Trump Jr. said the meeting was primarily about adoption policies, and spokespersons for the president repeatedly denied that Trump was involved in crafting it. But it was revealed in June of this year that a letter from the president's attorneys to Mueller said Trump did in fact dictate the statement, raising the question of why Trump tried to hide the true premise of the meeting. The element involved the Russian government's efforts to conduct computer hacking operations designed to gather and disseminate information to influence the election. The special counsel found that Russian government actors successfully hacked into computers and obtained emails from persons affiliated with the Clinton campaign and Democratic Party organizations, and publicly disseminated those materials through various intermediaries, including WikiLeaks. Based on these activities, the special counsel brought criminal charges against a number of Russian military officers for conspiring to hack into computers in the United States for purposes of influencing the election. Kushner has been criticized in the past for initially not disclosing more than 100 contacts with foreign leaders, including those from Russia, as well as ownership of a multi-million-dollar tech company with links to Goldman Sachs and businessmen Peter Thiel and George Soros. Kushner was also one of 3 top campaign officials or surrogates who failed to disclose a June 2016 meeting with a woman billed as being with the Russian government and having incriminating information on Hillary Clinton. By April 19, 2019, The New York Times had documented that Donald J. Trump and 18 of his associates had at least 140 contacts with Russian nationals and WikiLeaks, or their intermediaries, during the 2016 campaign and presidential transition. The Moscow Project, an initiative of the Center for American Progress Action Fund, had, by June 3, 2019, documented 272 contacts between Trump's team and Russia-linked operatives, including at least 38 meetings. None of these contacts were ever reported to the proper authorities. Instead, the Trump team tried to cover up every single one of them. 16 The New York Times reported in June 2021 that in 2017 and 2018 Trump's Justice Department subpoenaed metadata from the iCloud accounts of at least a dozen people associated with the House Intelligence Committee, including that of Democrat ranking member Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell, and family members, to investigate leaks to the press about contacts between Trump associates and Russia. Records of the inquiry did not implicate anyone associated with the committee, but upon becoming Attorney General Bill Barr revived the effort, including by appointing a federal prosecutor and about 6 others in February 2020. The Times reported that, apart from corruption investigations, subpoenaing communications information of members of Congress is nearly unheard of, and that some in the Justice Department saw Barr's approach as politically motivated. 1718 Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz announced an inquiry into the matter the day after the Times report. In March 2017, The New York Times reported that British and Dutch agencies had evidence of meetings between Russian officials and others close to Russia's President Vladimir V. Putin and associates of President-elect Trump. Separately, U.S. intelligence had overheard Russian officials, some of them within the Kremlin, talking about contacts with Trump associates. Some Russian officials were arguing about how much to interfere in the election. Then cyber attacks on state electoral systems led the Obama administration to directly accuse the Russians of interfering. Reported that United States intelligence agencies, monitoring Russian espionage, found Kremlin officials discussing Trump's associates in the spring of 2015. At the time, U.S. intelligence analysts were reportedly confused, but not alarmed, by these intercepted conversations. Between 2013 and 2015, Trump stated, "I do have a relationship with Putin. I met him once, and I spoke indirectly and directly with President Putin, who could not have been nicer. From 2016, during his election campaign, his stance changed. During a press conference in July 2016, he claimed, "I never met Putin, I don't know who Putin is. Never spoken to him," and in a July interview said, "I have no relationship with him." During the course of routine surveillance, used electronic intelligence to collect information from Russian targets. They found that Russians were talking to people associated with Trump. According to sources in the US and the UK, the conversations formed a suspicious pattern. 5. The British passed this information about suspicious interactions between members of Donald Trump's campaign team, and known or suspected Russian agents to use intelligence agencies. 5. For over the next 6 months, European allies began to pass along information about people close to Mr. Trump meeting with Russians in the Netherlands, Britain and other countries. 6 reports of these contacts between Trump's inner circle and Russians were shared by several allied foreign intelligence agencies, reportedly those of the United Kingdom, Germany, Estonia, Poland, Australia, France, and the Netherlands. Later, U.S. agencies began picking up conversations in which Russians were discussing contacts with Trump associates.